Hello there, Instagram. We are live again for another Cody's Circadian chat. I'm glad to have you here. Today is Thursday. I'm not great at keeping track of days. That's never been a strong suit of mine. And, well, hello there. Hey, how you doing, Ella? I hope you're doing really well. Here, hold on. Wait a second. I'll wave back at you. There you go. Awesome. Glad to have you on with me. So, as I was saying, I'm here for another Cody's Circadian chat, and I'm really bad at keeping track of days. It took me a second to figure out that today is a Thursday, which means tomorrow's Friday, which means that the weekend is almost here, and it also means that my Spartan race is almost here, which I am excited for. I'm not sure I'm quite ready for it, but I'm super excited for it, and I will keep you guys posted on what's going on with that. The Spartan race, it's going to be 8-mile race with 25 obstacles. So it's going to be intense, but I'm super ready, as ready as I'm going to be at least, and I'm excited to kind of share the journey with you guys as that gets closer. On tonight's chat, we've got an article from Seth Godin's blog. The website is seths.blog. Super simple website, and there's no .com or .net or whatever after that. It is .blog. So we're in the new age of interesting website domains. For instance, my website is EmergeLeadership.Club for my podcast. For my website, it's TheLeadership.Guide. So they're all over the place, and you're going to see them a lot more, so be prepared for that. So jumping back into Seth's blog, the name of this article is Lifelong Connection. And the next line that goes with it is, it lives right next to lifelong learning. So if you have been in the personal development world for any amount of time, you always hear people talk about the importance of lifelong learning, that you should always be developing yourself. And there's a lot of awesome things that go along with this. One of my favorite concepts to go along with this is the 1% principle, or the principle of compound interest, right? So if you take 1%, right, you just improve 1% every single day. Over 1 year, right, you're going to be 34 times better than you were at the beginning of the year, just by increasing 1% each day for an entire year. And if you spread that out over 10 years, the math behind it shows, what is it? I think it's like 4 quadrillion. It's some ridiculous number like that. Now you're thinking like, okay, how does that actually look in real life? Obviously, there's this concept of diminishing returns as you get better at something, right? For instance, like running. I used to do a lot of cross-country running in high school and college, and then I'm starting to get back into a lot of running. So once you hit a certain milestone, it's more and more difficult to take off time from that milestone. But that percentage still technically exists. It just looks very different from the beginning of that curve. So if you want to improve, right, just start off very little bit every single day. And that's kind of the whole concept of lifelong learning. Now, what is lifelong connection, right? And it's the way Seth describes it in this article. He says it's the commitment to engaging with people who will help us see what's possible, and in that return, we'll support them on their journey, right? So basically, what a lifelong connection is a relationship between at least 2 people, it could be more people, who see each other's journeys and continually push each other to reach higher levels. And they actually fuel each other in lifelong learning. This ties very similarly to Jim Rohn's famous quote, "You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with," right? So if you spend a lot of time, the 5 people you spend a lot of time with don't do any learning, right? The chances are you're not going to do any learning, right? If you spend a lot of time with people who never work out, chances are you're never going to be working out. If you spend a lot of time with people who play video games, chances are you're going to be playing a lot of video games with them. And so it's really important to figure out who do you want to spend time with, because the people you spend the most time with, you tend to pick up different habits from them. And you want those habits to be guiding you towards whatever your goals are. And I don't know what your goals are specifically. I'd love for you guys to tell me what are your goals. Kind of where are you trying to get to? And then my question for you is, are you hanging out with people who are on similar goals to you, or who have similar strides that they're trying to get to, similar heights, right? Maybe within lifelong connections, you don't always have to be with someone in your same industry, right? But someone who wants a similar level of success, or maybe a higher level success, to bring you along with them. That's what you're looking for in these lifelong connections. Now, an important thing that goes with this lifelong connection that Seth is talking about is it's not a one-way thing, right? You spend time with these other people, and you spend time with them, one, to help drive you to higher levels of success. But it can't just be a one-way street. If it's really going to be a lifelong connection, you have to be able to fuel them towards their success as well. And that's going to look different depending on whatever relationship you're talking about, right? If you're looking at a friendship, right, you guys want to become closer friends as time goes on. But like if you're in a mentor-mentee relationship, it looks very different. And just because they're at a higher level than you already doesn't mean that you can't help them. In fact, the process of mentorship, in theory, if it's going well, will drive the mentor to become better as well. We don't always think of that coming from the mentee side, but the thing with any sort of learning, right, the first level of learning is just understanding it conceptually. Second level is experiencing it. And then your third level is actually helping other people experience it as well. And when that kind of ties into the scientific method in general, right? There's the theory, right? There's the testing of the theory, and then before the theory really gets quote-unquote proven, right, you have to have multiple other groups test it to verify or dismiss the findings. And so it works the same way in a relationship, in the mentor-mentee relationship, right? The mentor has already learned the concepts, and the mentor has already applied those concepts in their lives. Now, you as the mentee have the opportunity, right, to learn this from them. And they have the opportunity to see, does this actually work again, right, with someone else in slightly different circumstances. And they can test it again and again and again, which does raise them up as well. And so how does this all tie to leadership, right? Within leadership, your goal should always be to look for creating lifelong relationships with as many people as you're able to, right? You want to be creating these lifelong connections with the people on your team. You're going to be wanting to create these types of connections with the people you serve, right? Because the more of these connections you can make, the stronger these relationships are, the more success you're going to have in your life. Another common phrase you hear in the personal development world is your network equals your net worth. So if you want a higher net worth, right, you want your team to be more successful, you want your business to be more successful, you want whatever you want to be more successful, you need to create a stronger network around that. And so identify the individuals who are going to help you get there, right? Identify individuals who are where you want to be and network with them, right? And networking isn't passing out your business card, right? Because that's baloney, right? Anybody can pass out a business card, just like anyone can send a friend request on social media, just like anyone can send a message on social media. That doesn't equal a relationship, right? It doesn't equal a true connection. A true connection requires back and forth a lot, right? And it's developed over time. So if you have met the person once and you've never communicated with them again, that's not a real connection, right? I get this all the time on social media, and it's ridiculous where people are like, oh, I'd love to make a connection with you. And I'm like, great, awesome. I would love to make a connection with you too, right? Let's continue having this conversation. And then they fall off the board, right? Or they're looking at me as a potential client, right? And they're like, hey, you're doing some awesome stuff. I can help you out with that. Reach me here. And usually this is what I do. I tell them, look, right now I'm not interested, but maybe in the future I will be. So reach out to me and let's have a conversation. And I do that as a test to see if they're looking for the bottom dollar, if they're looking for an actual connection. And 99% of the time, they're looking for the bottom dollar, and I'm not interested in your business if you're looking for the bottom dollar. I'm not interested in utilizing your services if you're just looking for the bottom dollar. And with my clients, I'm not looking for the bottom dollar. I'm looking to create real, lasting relationships with them because I want these lifelong connections with them. And that's what you should be seeking too. With all of your business, within your team, whatever facet of leadership you're looking at, you need to be looking to create these lifelong connections. So my question to you is, what lifelong connections have you already created up to this point, right? That's the first one. Which lifelong connections do you have so far? Are they lifelong connections that are serving you to where you want to get to? Because you may have lifelong connections with really good friends that you've known for years and years and years, but they're nowhere near where you want to get to. And so it's great that you have that friendship. I'm not saying get rid of that friendship, but you need to make new connections to drive you to where you want to get to, right? Along with this, what new connections do you want to be making? If you can define the type of relationship you are looking for, it can help you find people who match that general description. So this ties into the new car effect, right? If I decide that I'm going to get a new car, right? All of a sudden, like magic, right? Like magic, you see that car everywhere now. And it's not that everyone just decided to go out and get the same car as you at the same time, right? That would be silly because people are don't know that much about you to know that you made that decision. What's happened is your focus has changed. Because you've made a decision to get that new car, now you see that new car everywhere. And so the same thing can work with the relationships you want to be building, right? If you say, hey, I want to become a millionaire, right? Or, hey, I want to create a thriving team in my business, in my organization, right? If I say, hey, I want to create a team where the individuals want to stay with the organization for years and years and years, right? Define that so you can start finding connections with people who have that, right? There are organizations in there who have raving fans who are employees, right? So go make friends with someone who's running an organization like that so you can learn what is it that they're doing that you're able to replicate in your own way. And I wouldn't try and replicate it perfectly, right? Because their situation is not exactly the same as yours. But you can pick up clues and hints as to what you can do to create that. And so where do you want these lifelong connections, right? Do you already know people within your network, right? And if you don't know a person directly, but you know of them, what they say is if you've built a good network, every single person in the world is within, I want to say, 3 connections, right? That means that if you want to know Richard Branson, right, there is one person in your network who's only 2 degrees away from them. They know someone who knows Richard Branson. And I've actually found that true even within my network. I know someone who's actually worked directly with Richard Branson. Now, I'm not going to give out their information or anything like that, so don't be asking for that. Because 1, you and I haven't created that relationship. 2, I haven't even developed that relationship with that person who is in my network to be able to even get somewhere near Richard Branson, right? Now, if my goal was to somehow, someday meet Richard Branson, right, I would think about developing that relationship more, right? Now, that's not a top priority for me. Another one that I know is only 1 degree away from me is Bill Gates. I actually know someone who's related to Bill Gates. And I'm not saying that I'm going to go out and create a better relationship with that person just to get to Bill Gates, because that's kind of slimy to do. And they actually have a lot of people who do that, so I would never do that to them, right? Plus, they're an awesome individual anyways, so I'd want to just know them for them. But my point is, right, if you're looking to create those relationships and you actually make lifelong connections with these people who are already in your network, the likelihood that you're going to make connections with people that you think are untouchable is actually not that far away. But it's only going to happen if you actually make real lifelong connections with these individuals. And so my whole point is, who are the people you want to make lifelong connections with? How can you start the process to get there? And remember, if you have to go through multiple people to get to that lifelong connection that you really want, you have to make lifelong connections with each individual along the way. Because people will see through your BS, right? If you're just trying to be buddy-buddy with this person to get to someone else, they see through that every single time. So that's not going to work. So you have to be looking to make the lifelong connection with them and hope they'll introduce you to the next level of that connection. And the thing is, if you actually develop a real relationship with someone, people are more than happy to introduce you to other people in their network, but only after you've actually developed a real relationship. So the whole point of this is you need real relationships with people. You know, just commenting on social media, just reaching out via an email, having one conversation with someone, that's not a real relationship, right? That's not going to get you to the highest levels of success that you want. One other thing that this article doesn't actually talk about, something we talked about on yesterday's Circadian chat with me, was that every single place that's considered a blue zone, which means that people have an average lifespan of like over 100, which is crazy compared to most of the world. But within those regions, one of the top things, if not the top thing within those, is that they've built solid relationships with everyone in their community. So if you actually want to live longer and have more success, you need to create these lifelong connections. That's the combination of this all goes together. So that is the end of my chat for tonight. Let me know your thoughts. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? I'm totally open to both, because the more I know, the better I can get, the better information I can provide for you guys. And if you have suggestions for articles, let me know, because I love reading articles in my own pursuit of lifelong learning. As Seth Godin has put it, I read a ton of things. I go through a lot of different programs. I'm actually in 3 certifications right now. I'm taking a separate course right now. And I read articles and have discussions about these articles. So I do a lot within learning and developing myself. So definitely, if you have an awesome article that you want me to talk about, let me know. Anyhow, that's the end of the Cody Circadian chat for today. And remember, unlock your heroic potential, develop yourself into a legendary leader, and emerge into who you are meant to be.